My name is Casey Poe-Campbell. I compete every day for confidence.
This is the Everyday Competitor Podcast. Each episode features people just like you, winning in their career, workouts, and life just like you want to. All because they've chosen to compete every day. Here's your host, Compete Everyday founder, Jake Thompson.
Casey, what's going on today?
Hello, my friend. How are you?
I'm good. We were just laughing about the infamous dead cat microphone that is making an appearance today on the show as well.
Right.
And so I've gotten a chance to know you a little bit through social media and interactions on there through Compete. But why don't you share a little bit about yourself with our listeners, with our viewers today? Help us get to know you.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, Jake, thank you so much for having me as a guest on the show. I'm super stoked for that. And yeah, so I think I've actually listened to every single one of your episodes. So I'm super excited for season 3 and just seeing the progress that you have made with the podcast. So well done.
Yeah, it's, I was about to say, and you're about to have your hands full because season 3 on the Compete show is now twice a week between Sunday and Wednesday. Sundays we have motivation, me just kind of doing one-on-one with you, the listener. And then Wednesdays are our big interview days. And then this, obviously, the Everyday Competitors podcast is kind of our second show that's all about competitors and community and helping people get to know other people like them, what they're overcoming in life. And we drop 6 to 8 episodes every month on this. So quite a bit of podcasting ahead of you.
I'm super stoked for it. Yeah, you got me actually through, I trained for ultra marathon in the fall. So your podcast got me through some of my longer runs. So thank you for that.
You are the third ultra marathon, ultra endurance athlete we've had on this Everyday Competitor podcast. And I've had 0 on the main show. So we're going to have to dive into that a little bit, but what got you into ultra endurance running?
It was one of those things. So I did triathlon for a number of years and I kind of got burnt out with it and wanted a new challenge. So I had never run a road marathon, never want to run a road marathon. So I decided when I turned 36, like, hey, I'm going to run a 50K. And then I just signed up for one in November because my friend said they had really good enchiladas at the end of it.
You know, a lot of people, it's beer or pizza at the finish line, but for you, it's enchiladas.
It was the enchiladas, yeah. And so the name of the race was called Dead Horse, and it was in Moab, Utah. So just absolutely gorgeous. I had the most perfect day I've ever had racing. So much fun.
That's so how long of a race is that? Like, how many hours are you physically moving?
It's okay. So 50K is like 30-ish miles, just over 30. And it took me 6 hours and 48 minutes to do it.
And so while you're running, you're listening to podcasts, audiobooks, music, kind of what's going through your head? Because that's a long time to be with your thoughts.
Yes. So during training, I listened to podcasts, some audiobooks. And it was funny because there were a few podcasts that I just had to turn off because they were annoying me. And I could tell it was because I was just really hurting during my run. And, but actually during the race, I didn't listen to anything. I didn't even have headphones in. I was just, I can talk to a wall and make friends. So I made friends with so many other racers.
Wow.
And yeah, or you're just, you're kind of out there. I sang songs in my head or just, I don't know. Just random. I have a lot of good business ideas too when I'm running. And I'm
unfortunately, you're not really in a position to write them down. It's like
no.
taking a shower and you don't have anything to write on.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Although there is a notepad for the shower now.
Oh, okay. All right. So new invention. Yeah. Now you just need to be able to dictate all this stuff while you're running.
Mm-hmm.
What? Because obviously a 30-miler it's a long time. 6 hours is a long time moving. There's probably multiple points along the way that thoughts are going through your head of maybe we should quit. Maybe we should get out of this. Like there's no way we're going to make it. What's going through your head? How are you talking yourself out of those negative thoughts and those negative things in that moment?
It was very interesting because it was definitely the most relaxed I've ever been going into a race. And I've done a lot of racing and I came at it from the stance of being grateful. And it is amazing, the power of gratitude and how it can just shift your day. So instead of thinking like, oh, I need to get, like super fast time or be in front of this person or whatever, I was just so grateful to be out there and to enjoy the scenery, and just grateful for my body that I was even in that position to be able to complete such a feat.
That's awesome. Okay, so when you're not running 50Ks and crazy endurance racing, where do you live? What do you do on a day-to-day basis? What does life look like for you?
I live in Denver, Colorado now. So I used to live in Dallas, Texas, lived there for about 6 years. Then I was also in New York City for 3, but I grew up in Colorado. So I'm doing like all of the Colorado things: snowboarding, trail running, rock climbing, all of that good stuff. I do not have a Subaru yet, but I'm sure I will get one again. And I'm also a licensed esthetician and nutritional therapy practitioner, which are just fancy titles to mean that I talk about poop and pimples all the time.
Well said. Well put for everyone that's like, I wonder, oh, I know exactly what she does now.
Yeah.
So what inspired that career path? Because obviously that's not something I come across in my day-to-day, or people that talk about poop and pimples. How did you find yourself fascinated by these conversations?
I had terrible skin growing up, and that was why I got into aesthetics, because I needed a way to fix my acne. And I knew going to the dermatologist every other month was just not going to be the solution for it. And I was actually a flight attendant at the time, and my roommate was an esthetician, and that was the first time that I'd ever heard about it. So that's when I went to aesthetic school, and I had a brick and mortar spa in Dallas, and I realized that I was talking a lot more about nutrition to people to help with their acne, because I had really helped fix my acne through nutrition. I did the Whole30, which is, 30-day nutritional reset. And that was what really cleared up my skin. And so when I realized like, maybe I should dive into this nutrition a bit more, since I'm talking about it so much. So that was really, just really from my own personal struggles and my desire to help people be able to just be confident in their own skin and not have to go to the dermatologist all the time.
That's awesome. So obviously your own journey and struggles in certain areas is what inspired you to now help other people in that space.
Mm-hmm.
What does being a competitor look like to you on a day-to-day basis? What does it mean to compete every day for you right now?
So a little bit of a backstory on the answer to this. In November, I had the awesome, amazing opportunity to lead a workshop at the TEDx Women event at SMU in Dallas. And the theme of the entire event was showing up. So with my aesthetics background, the event organizer asked me to speak on, like, literally, what do you look like when you show up? Now, we know the ladies in Dallas know how to do their makeup quite well, so I probably was not going to teach them much. But what I came up with is the overarching theme of my talk ended up being confidence. And not being confident necessarily in having glowing skin, or your makeup is perfect, or, your fat pants not fitting, but also confidence in the way and being confident in the decisions that you make on a daily basis when it comes to the food you are putting into your body and the products that you are putting onto your skin. So making sure, okay, these foods are going to nourish my body, and these ingredients I'm using in my personal care products are not going to be toxic to me. So I would say confidence is really what I am competing for.
I love it. And I recently did a post online about growing our confidence, growing our courage. It's a day-by-day process. It's a choice. It depends on what we choose to do and how we choose to show up in the world every day. Because a lot of times we get frustrated, as you can imagine, and that we see things on TV and we see people change in 2 hours during a movie, or 12 episodes of a Netflix binge, and they go from someone that's very shy and scared of a lot of things to this confident hero or heroine, and we admire them, and then we get frustrated in life when we aren't as confident that quickly, like when in 2 hours it just doesn't magically happen for us. What do you do on a daily basis to constantly build that confidence in who you are and what you're capable of?
Oh, that's a good question. What I do personally is I think confidence is something just like working out, that you have to practice it every single day. And you may be super uncomfortable in a situation, but you just have to do it. And that is absolutely going to increase your confidence. I mean, take you, for example, like the first time you probably went to a place to sell a t-shirt, it was probably super scary. And now it's like, meh, no big deal. Like, I got this, because you've practiced that confidence.
And it's that routine. It's the number of at-bats you get. It's just doing it over and over again. Prepared. I laugh that the difference between how excited you are and how nervous you are comes down to that preparation, those reps, those practices. And so for a lot of us growing our confidence, that's where we need to do is put in those reps, put ourselves in those uncomfortable situations, make those choices that seem a little scarier, so that we're little by little building that strength up. So Casey, for everyone watching that's in the Facebook community that's seen you, has interacted with you, what's something you want us to know about you?
Okay, so I just thought of some little fun fact about myself is that I have made my bed every day since high school.
Wow.
And I'm now 36, so that has been quite a while. But I had this golf coach when I was in high school. He was retired Air Force, and basically he told me I would amount to nothing in life if I didn't make my bed every day. I mean, he said it much nicer and more eloquently than that, but that was the, just kind of the gist of it. So when the video went viral, I'm totally blanking on his name.
It was Air Force, or as an admiral, Navy admiral,
Navy
right?
Admiral McCraven, I think. When that went viral, I was kind of thinking to myself, y'all haven't been doing this the whole time? Like, what's up? You need to make your bed, people.
Yeah, his point was fantastic in that making your bed starts your day out with a win. It's doing something every day that gives you that positive first step to help start building that momentum. And so it's fascinating you've done that. I, on the other hand, am horrendous at making my bed in the morning, mainly because my wife has a million throw pillows. And if I'm just pulling the covers up, making the bed, I'm good to go. But when I have to add 15 pillows and fold the dog blanket, I usually just check out. And she's probably watching this being like, yeah, he does. He absolutely like to do that. So
Absolutely.
Casey, what's this year? It's 2019. We're rolling. What is something that you're focused in and competing for this year?
Okay, so one of my goals that I came up with, and so, at the beginning of the year, you always do your goals and kind of just 4 segments, or that's the way I do it, where it's work, relationships, fun, that kind of stuff. So when I was really looking at it, I realized, okay, with some of these goals that I have, I need to step out of my comfort zone every single day. And again, this kind of goes back to the confidence thing that you need to practice it. So one of my goals is I want to go backcountry snowboarding. So to get to that goal, I need to, ski some black runs, get in the trees, get in the bowls, and get off of the greens and the blues. I need to step out of that to where it becomes the new normal of, okay, this is where I'm going with it. So I actually just came up with this idea today. What I'm going to start doing is writing down every single day the one thing that made me feel uncomfortable or scared. And I'm going to put it in a jar, kind of like a gratitude jar, to be able to go back and look at it at the start of 2020 and be like, oh, that used to scare me.
Love it. I love it. And tracking, writing things down are so powerful because we can look back in it. It's like having that daily gratitude journal, having the lessons and victories of every day, seeing your growth, because if you're not constantly looking forward, but just glancing back to see how far you've come, you fail to take into gratitude the growth and seeing how far you've actually grown and gotten stronger and more confident over your journey. Casey, what are some ways people watching the show can get connected with you online? I know you're an avid Instagrammer. Is that kind of the main channel for you, or are there other places that you're pretty active?
I'm most active on Instagram, Real Talk Casey, and I do keep it real, and I cuss sometimes, so don't have your kids listen. And also, I have a podcast called Project Nourish.
Awesome. And
so those are the 2 best places.
Sweet. Okay, so I'll make sure both are linked here in the show notes. Here above us on the screens, we have our Instagram handles for people watching that want to check us out, follow online, and so we'll drive both of those there. Casey, thanks for coming on the show this week.
Jake, thank you so much for having me. It was a real pleasure. My name is Casey Poe-Campbell. I'm an everyday competitor.
Thank you for listening to the Everyday Competitor Podcast. Visit www.competeforyour.life to learn how you can get connected with other competitors, contact the show, and find free resources to help you compete every day in life.